I asked John if I could record just one last video clip to add onto that interview that he and I did this past week around mental health and the coronavirus, saying just a bit about the importance of resilience and growth in regards to mental health and how we can shift our perspective from merely getting through this event to actually changing for the better and shoring up our mental health. I want to validate first that we are, of course, in unknown times, right? And our biology and our neurobiology is hardwired to go to anxiety and panic, worry, fear, distress, right? We're in the unknown, and when we're in the unknown, we have many thousands of years of mammalian training that tells us to go into a state of high alert, which can challenge our mental health. So go ahead and give yourself the time and the space to feel that when it arises, which is natural, normal, and somewhat unavoidable, especially right now. But then, to the degree to which you can, try to unplug from those conditioned mammalian responses to find your footing and your grounding. Try to practice standing squarely in the place of acceptance and surrender and wholeness, of even creativity, but also of a healthy vigilance, right? A healthy vigilance. It makes me think of an athletic stance, being in an athletic stance where where you're kind of crouched down a little bit, you're on the balls of your feet, right? As if to say, like, okay, what's coming, right? Not in a defended way, not crouched in an anxious, fearful way, but more in a way of, I don't know what's coming, but I'm poised and I'm ready for whatever that is when it gets here, whenever that is, right? It's not here now, but whenever it gets here, I will deal, right? Because that's what will get us to the other side of this. Not just to the other side, but what will allow us to harvest the opportunities also along the way for transformation and growth through this, is if we can get in that athletic stance. If instead we go to our old conditioned patterns of fear and contracting and shutting down and pulling away, that isn't going to be helpful. Some of the ways that we've been dealing with change and the unknown and our own fear responses are currently breaking down for a lot of us. And it doesn't make sense for us to pick up those old tools and try to use them to, quote unquote, get through this, right? What if the talk was less about getting through and more about, how do I want to be changed by this when it's all over? Because it will be over, it will end, and we will get through what's happening now, but we will be changed, right? But let us be changed. Let us be changed. It may be worth asking ourselves, how can I be changed in a way that will grow me into a higher version of myself? What you and really all 7 billion of us right now are facing is that some of the practices that we've had for dealing with fear and uncertainty that aren't the most functional, they're now kind of screaming in our faces for a lot of us, especially if we're prone to experiencing depression and anxiety. They're now in the forefront. So this is an opportunity to reconcile who we're going to be through this. Right, with our worry and our mental gymnastics, we're trying to control, get a sense of consistency and control and known, but you don't know, right? We don't know what the future holds. But what we can know, what we do know, is that we can do our best to guide the ship of our families, our marriages, perhaps our businesses, but certainly ourselves from a place of kindness and understanding and compassion. So whatever those words mean to you, how can you cultivate and employ those tools? Right? How can you spend the free time that you have, which may have increased if you're unemployed or unable to work, or may have even decreased right now, to live from a place that is more grounded, solid, and rooted in the present moment, possibly in ways that help you to bring more meaning and value and purpose into your life right now, even in the midst of what's going on, maybe especially in the midst of what's going on right now. That's the practice. That's our work. What if worry and panic are your training ground, right? And worry and panic may be coming up these days in a big way, and for a reason, right? For good reason. But if they're your sparring partner, right? What if they're your sparring partner? So the degree to which you can really get nimble with it, with your fear and your response to fear, and keep anchoring yourself in the present, what's truly happening around you, which is usually really different than the depressive or anxious images or thoughts that come up for us about the future. The better we can take that athletic stance that allows us to be more ready for whatever comes, more from a place of groundedness and nimbleness, if that's a word, rather than fear. Here are some questions to consider regarding resilience and adaptability. which are such crucial elements of mental health. Questions like, how do I want to position myself as I grow through this experience? As I'm being stretched by these unprecedented events, how can I keep my eye on the big picture? How can this be an opportunity for me to really refine my way of being with my partner so that our relationship isn't brittle or fragile or defended when storms like this hit? What new rituals or rituals of connection do my marriage or my family need as we adapt to spending more and different time together at home for the next many weeks? Right? Who am I as a person being called to become through this event? What am I being initiated into? What is my growth right now to be of service to the people I lead and serve, which may be employees or clients or just family members? What's happening now is really showing up where it is that we have not been attending to places in our relationship with ourselves or our partner or our family or our community. And now those edges may be frayed when we really need those edges to be grounded. So how does that inform me about what in my internal life and my external life needs my attention right now? In the face of what can seem like a truly overwhelming situation, there's always a place of peace and stillness that exists within us, that is untouched by the external circumstances, regardless of whether or not we are prone to mental health challenges. Our practices, both internal and external, and our rituals of connection are needed now more than ever. Many of us don't even remember the thing that was worrisome just 3 months ago that ruined our sleep or caused us distress. Right? Everything that rises eventually passes and is often the greatest catalyst for change and growth. So I encourage you to spend much more time in those activities that are uplifting and nourishing than you do, let's say, reading the news. Right? Carve out some time to be quiet on the inside and the outside as a source of renewal and strength and resilience. And finally, we will get through this, right? But more so, we will be changed by this for the better if we let ourselves. We're being given a very powerful opportunity, and are we going to just get through it, or are we going to transform through it? Perhaps this is a quiet call to action that we can step up to, whatever that stepping up looks like in your own life. I wish you well.